Welcome everyone. This is Monday, January 18th, Martin Luther King Day. A man who lost his life in the fight of a great cause, difficult situation and cause. Call the roll, please.
Cedar.
Here.
Kenstotter.
Here.
Kleeman.
Here.
Koopa.
Here.
Laporte.
Here.
McCartney.
Here.
Bolt.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, come to the microphone, give us your name and address when we get to public comment, please, or anytime before we take a vote, we'll ask for your input also at that time. We need to amend the agenda under new business for B, consideration of industrial park property.
Yeah.
Put that under new business B, consideration, discussion, industrial park property. Number 5 is consent agenda, City Council minutes of January 4th, 2021 regular meeting, recommendation approved. B is the Planning Commission minutes of November 18th, 2020 meeting, recommendation received. And C is the Planning Commission 2020 annual report received.
Motion to approve A through C as presented.
Support. I just have just one question on that. In the Planning Commission annual report, it shows Paul Wade missed the November meeting, and in the November minutes, it shows that he was there.
He was there in spirit.
I'll stand behind him. I was there, they forgot to put an X. I think it's your brother did that.
Yeah, sure, throw him under the bus.
Oh, yeah.
I'd blame him too.
All right. Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 6 is orders and resolution, adoption of master plan. Mr. Rothy.
Yes, Your Honor. Before we begin, I just wanted to say that the master plan update is one of the things to make us earn our certification as a redevelopment ready community. Also, along with becoming a redevelopment ready community, it's important to have a collaborative meeting between the council and its planning commission or zoning board of appeals. So with the council receiving the planning commission annual report as well as the master plan today, it made sense to have some members of our planning commission and ZBA in attendance to in the meeting tonight. I think they've all done great work this past year handling zoning things that have come in their way, as well as planning cases, as well as preparing the master plan. So we're glad you're here. If there's any comments or questions for them as you review the master plan for your approval, I imagine they would be able to speak to that process. Otherwise, before you, the resolution is the final step in the master plan adoption process. Planning Commission was required to have a public hearing, and at the conclusion of that public hearing, they unanimously voted to recommend that the City Council approve the master plan as presented. A draft copy of the plan was included for your review, and at this point now, all that is required is a motion to adopt this resolution to make this master plan effective.
Your Honor, I spent my Sunday reading the master plan, and I'm in agreement with what's been presented to me, and I would make the motion to accept the resolution.
I'll support that.
All right, the motion's made and supported. Questions? Yes, sir. No.
Do it.
Do it.
I have a couple of questions. Do we currently have a complete streets policy? It's mentioned in there. Is that something that we have on policy right now as a city? Can somebody on the planning commission perhaps answer that one? Okay. I think that's something we should follow through on. It's near the end, but it's about making the streets walkable, rideable, biking for lots of different entities on it. So that's something I'm just interested in. The other was probably for Warren or Annette, the implementation section 8-5. It talks about public involvement and development plans website. I don't think we have anything like that on our website, but I think that would be a wonderful thing for the city to see and to have, like, what is the development project that's happening in the St. Clair, where it's at in the process, what kinds of levels we're at in that process.
You mean like to keep the public updated as to what we're
Exactly.
doing with the street project?
Yeah. Street projects, but also development in the industrial park, where we're at in that, on those stages of that development process.
I thought we had a road project plan, Warren. I don't remember if it's ever been in writing. I know we talk about it a lot. You know, we talk about the roads that are being done and what our wish list is, but I agree with Member Bowles. It would be nice to see something, but then again, if it's in writing, it usually gets done, right? So.
Yeah. To respond to your your comments. Complete Streets, I think this is a worthy thing to look into, so that's something we can certainly bring back and talk about more. As far as getting a part of the website where we talk about here's our upcoming city projects, I do believe just with the flow of information, talking about city projects like streets, that'll be much easier than necessarily commenting all the time on various.
Well, I don't think it has to be extremely detailed. I think it can be like,
Yeah.
just very, it can be very vague, but just that we have these projects going on.
Yeah, that's something that could be incorporated, I believe. That's a good suggestion.
Anybody else? I have one question, and anybody who's out there that wants to answer this, Paul or whoever, on page 2-13, under planning considerations, Pine River and Clinton Avenue, maybe this was in before, but allow a maximum of 3 stories for building heights on Clinton Avenue and Pine River. Paul, have we always been 3 or were we 2 before?
No, I think we were 3, and when we created the downtown development,
You were got a bad leg, so you don't have to come up to that microphone. Well, maybe if you can.
no, I believe when it was 3, but what we've done when we created the Gaslight District is if you go on the west side of 3rd Street, for half that block all the way up, that's a transition area between the residential and, say, the mall area and all that along the Gaslight. So it kind of, you're able to get up to 4 stories by the time you get into the mall area and along Riverside there.
The east side of 3rd Street, I thought, was part of that.
Yeah, Third Street
On the
is
west side of 3rd Street, it was a transition from 3 down to residential.
down to residential.
Mixed zone.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Good job. This is a great document. I think we're pretty proud of it. The motion's been made, supported. Call the roll, please.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Koopa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Volk?
Yes.
Kinsler?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Resolution adopted, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thanks for all your hard work, you guys. Number 7 is report to administration, Mr. Rothy.
Yes, Your Honor, I have 3 items to share. Earlier last week, some of the valves in the raw water pumping station were replaced by Murray Underground. That was projects that those of us who toured the water plant, we know we showed you the pictures of where, the pipes were degrading, the leaks were happening. That's all been taken care of now. Those valves were purchased and installed yesterday, so that was a good project that had finally crossed off our list. Additionally, I'm hoping to have renderings of the bike path this week, Clinton Avenue, and then again, pictures worth 1,000 words. So the intention is once we're in receipt of those, we can move forward with scheduling that public outreach meeting for both the residents on Clinton, but also just our community at large who wants to learn about that. So I am hoping to have that meeting in the next 2-3 weeks scheduled. So we'll be communicating on our channels that we use to spread awareness there. Additionally, we're looking at, I'm really here to ask you what your calendars look like on February 10th. It's a Wednesday. That was likely going to be a good day for our workshop on the water plant improvements. So I don't need anything from you today. I just wanted to put that out there that we're looking to schedule that meeting soon, and I'll be in touch via email to make sure we can all make that meeting and we can notice it properly. But right now, that's the day we're looking at to meet with Fishbeck to go over those study reports. And then lastly, just wanted to thank Marion Schweiofer for her service as our code enforcement officer these past 2 years. She has submitted her resignation, and she will no longer be with us effective February 1st. So thank you, Marion, for your service, and she will be missed.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Rothy? All right, city attorney is taking care of a family situation that arose right before the meeting. Departments, you got something, chief? Sorry.
I just need about an hour, if that's all right. No, I'm kidding. I just want to let you know that a citizen, David Gillish, you probably all know him, his passion for the police department and the community, he has developed a police foundation, St. Clair Police Foundation. And all their paperwork is filed. They just need to receive their 501c3 from the IRS, and they're off and running. They have a board of directors. That's David is on the board of directors, Christine McNabb, Jerry Mason, Paul Wade, Catherine Huffmaster, and Ken Lockwood. So it's just a way that we can work better with the community, and people can donate and get a donation, I mean a IRS write-off for it that they haven't been able to do in the past. Second thing I want to say is that thing I gave you all, the paperwork, that is a piece of equipment that I was able to purchase with the assistance of a local business, Malcolm Marine. They gave me money. And this, instead of a radar trailer where you sit out on the road and the only people that know they're speeding are the driver of the car that lights it up, this we can hang on a pole any street in town. It's easily moved, and it gives you those reports that are attached. The first one's very simple, that you can show, I can show you or the citizens. It tells how many cars have passed, the speeds, and the enforcement level. And then it goes on, and there's a whole bunch of reports, and even tells us what time of day is the best time of day to enforce speed on any certain street that we put it on. So it's going to be a great tool.
This was an actual report, or using this as an example?
Actually, this was our test. We put it out by St. Mary's.
6,000 cars?
Yeah.
5 days. Wow.
Yep. The high speed 52,
I know.
that was us testing it. just so you know, the 52 was us testing it. So
Oh, that's cool.
the average speed was only 26. So this will be easy one, because I get a lot of calls. People speed down my street. We can put it out there for 7 days and show them this and say, you know, I know a lot of cars are loud and some of them are speeding, but a majority of them are not. And so it's going to be a great tool.
Yeah, that's
and,
wonderful, Chief.
And thanks to Malcolm Marine for buying it for us.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, any other departments before Amy? Is Amy here?
Yeah, Amy's here. Do
Okay.
you want to read the thing?
Which thing?
That one right there?
This one?
Yeah, about the
Oh,
election.
I was going to do that at 12.
Okay, that's fine. So,
Yeah, this is only Amy's show. Come on up, Amy.
Okay, you guys finally have a quarterly financial statement. So this is the start. I had a lot of help from Warren this time around because I'm knee-deep in audit. The audit for fiscal year 20 started today, if you didn't know. So it's a virtual audit to start, so it's been a lot of pulling and a lot of filing and, you know, a lot of work. So really, we just started with the basics. So we just listed all the funds, what we've, you know, what the revenue we collected to date, the expenses that we've paid to date. Everything materially is up to date. There's a few things that are not recorded as of right now for the first quarter, but they don't make a material difference to these numbers. I don't know if you've all had a chance to look over it as of now. I think the thing that makes it look the strangest is the high revenues. We've already collected pretty much all the property taxes that are going to go into the statement for the whole fiscal year. So that's why our revenues look incredibly good right now. And that affects the general fund, the municipal street funds, and the pension fund. So, is there any questions?
Okay, and is there anything that you look at this and you have any kind of concerns or?
Not at all. We are right on track. I mean, we're a quarter of the way through the year, so the expenses generally, you would expect everything to be in the 25% range. The general fund expenses are a little high, and that's just due to the internal transfers that have moved to the other funds to cover operating expenses for the whole year. No, there's absolutely nothing concerning. I think we look in great shape. It turns out that a lot of the revenue estimates they keep being increased, the revenue that we receive from the state. As time goes on, you know, gosh, how often do they do the revenue estimating conferences?
every 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And every time they seem to go up a little bit more and a little bit more. So that's good news for us too. You know, what we think we're gonna get is what we budgeted, what we're actually gonna get is hopefully gonna be a lot more than that.
Are you comfortable with the water fund?
I'm comfortable with everything right now. There has been nothing, you know, nothing crazy out there. even though we're not charging late fees, the amount that's receivable is nothing, it's larger than it has been in the past, but it's nothing alarming.
Well, both of them, sewer and water,
What's that?
both funds, sewer and water fund.
Any questions for Amy?
And if you guys have anything that you'd like to see differently going forward, this is a trial. I know you haven't had the quarterly reports in the past, so if you'd like to see it presented in any different way, more detail, less detail, just please let me know.
No, I'm glad to see you come in every quarter like this would be good because we need to see this and hear your voice.
And the first quarter is generally pretty boring. I mean, there's not a whole lot of activity because we're still wrapping up the year behind, and expenses are usually lower because we book a lot of the stuff that has to do with, anything prior to September is booked back to that year. So, this is a good quarter to start with a trial, and then, like I said, I can present it in any different way, however you want.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Any other departments tonight? Let's go to D, authorities, boards, commissions, committee chairs. Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals Annual Report Review.
This is just an opportunity if any council member has any question on the review. Again, as Warren stated, there's members here to answer any of those questions. The report's pretty straightforward. It just summarizes everything that occurred throughout the year. But this is just an opportunity to discuss it if you'd like.
I'd just like to say my hat's off to you guys that you had a pretty busy year with COVID. Even with COVID affecting a lot of the things going on between the industrial park and the apartments on Clinton Avenue and the new development in the industrial park. You guys have had a pretty busy year and you've done a good job with everything. So I'd like to say that.
All right, echo those sentiments. Is there anybody from planning or the ZBA that wants to come up and have any kind of conversation with us tonight? All right. All right, well, we appreciate what you do, and thank you for coming tonight, and keep up the good work. Anybody else have anything, boards, commissions? All right, then we will go to 8. There's no unfinished business. 9, new business. Approve appointment to 2020 boards, commissions, and authority. I have one appointment tonight to the ZBA, the Zoning Board of Appeals, to complete a 3-year term expiring in December 31st, 2021. Former Councilman Steve Ellery would like to be appointed to that.
Make a motion to approve that.
Support it.
Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's go to B. Mr. Rothy, Industrial Park Project. You want to talk about that?
Yes, Your Honor, I can kick us off before introducing our guests, Jeff Bohm, Dan Casey, today. We have an opportunity to continue our partnership with Magna International, potentially, and it involves the remaining portion of the industrial park property and a potential project that they have for it. So this project, what we've been told so far, 200 jobs, a little bit more, 250, 150, 180,000 square foot building, not a large user of water and sewer for production purposes, really just, water sewer needs for the workforce, flushing toilets, washing hands, things like that. So one of the things to consider is what type of incentive package to offer, which is where our folks at the county have come in with some different ideas on how to create an attractive incentive package while also ensuring that everybody gets a fair deal. So I'm not sure if one of you wants to talk first, kind of on the...
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm Dan Casey with the Economic Development Alliance. So this project is a good example of how these things seem to come together in that it's a company that has a project. They're looking at multiple sites. They began by looking in Ohio. They've got some sites in Ohio that they like, but they also wanted to consider the St. Clair Industrial Park. And so typically what happens in these cases is they ask for the community to put an offer together. What are they willing to do to work with the company to try to make the project a good business case and to try to get their corporate approval. So we're competing with Ohio, multiple sites for this particular project. And so I'm going to ask Jeff Bohm to talk a little bit about, from the county's perspective, but the first issue is how do you deal with land costs? And the second issue is inspection and permit fees and water and sewer taps. This particular company pretty much requires that local communities waive the permit fees, the review fees, and the water and sewer taps. And they call it an entitlement, but that's an entitlement that they like to see in the communities they go into. They also are looking for low cost or even free land for the project. And again, they're looking in Ohio, so they've already found some sites there that meet their requirements. But they wanted to give the city of St. Clair an opportunity to compete for the project. And then lastly, they're also looking at a tax abatement and then job training funds. Now, the tax abatement would be subject to the community's approval. The job training funds are not. The job training funds come from the state of Michigan through the community college system, and it's a reimbursement. So the company has to fund their training, and then they get reimbursed after the fact. So this is kind of the package that we're looking to put together, but it obviously requires your approval tonight. And so with that, I'm going to ask Jeff if he wants to make any comments on what the county's going to do in this, potentially going to do in this
Quick
project.
question for Dan.
Yes, sir.
As many as years I've been sitting here, every time there's a project, it's always us in Ohio. What is going on in Ohio?
It's not always us in Ohio. It's us, Ohio, and Indiana. Those are typically the three states. So the reason is because of where the assembly plants are located. This is an automotive project, and there's 25 assembly plants in a 4-hour radius of our location. 7 of them are in Canada. The bulk of them are in Michigan, primarily in Metro Detroit. But then there's several that are in Illinois, there's several that are in Ohio, and there's a couple in Kentucky and Tennessee. And so when the company looks at, being able to service multiple customers from a single location, they'll look at drive times, mileage, and so forth. And so with Project Seinfeld, we actually dealt with that issue because the customer was in Detroit, but they had another potential customer that was in Ohio. So, it probably would have made sense for them to locate farther south than St. Clair, but we were fortunate enough that we put together a good team of people and answered all their questions and landed that project. And they think highly enough of us because of that they came back to the city again to ask if you would be willing to participate.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to reference this first plant here for a second. I know, I think Warren's probably shared the information with you. A lot of times people, when you talk about free land, you talk about waiving some permit fees and stuff, kind of get a little tough to stomach sometimes. But when you look at even after abatements on this first phase of this plant, I'm just going to share some of the numbers with you. So the county operating, $53,000, the college, $19,000, RESA special, $23,000. Then you jump into city. City operating, $130,000. City road, $25,000. City pension, $10,000, and there's a lot of the other things. This, even with this new plant being abated, it'll pay roughly $544,000 a year in taxes, okay? These are big scale projects. It's going to be arguably the largest non-utility taxpayer that we have in St. Clair County. So as this one grows into phase 2, phase 3, it's going to produce a substantial amount of money. So I know sometimes it's a little bit hard to stomach, if you have to spend a couple $100,000, what's your payback, those types of things. The county has previously done some economic development stuff locally. If you remember, the county actually paid to clear that property out there however many years ago. That was to roughly the tune of $160,000. We have what is called a land bank, and we've got some money set aside in our land bank, which is basically tax foreclosed properties that the county receives. They end up turning them, selling, and put money in. It's kind of been money that's been squirreled away for a period of time. It would be the mechanism that we would look to come and basically purchase the remaining acreage from the city for $150,000. The county then would turn around and would donate the property to Magna, and then I think in there's some fees and some things, you know, on your guys' end. We understand the importance, and we understand how it is tough for smaller communities to write that checks, you know, some of these times. But when we look at the taxing, you know, the $150,000 on a new separate additional, that's probably got a 5-year payback for the county. So it's important that we do, you know, do these things to put our best foot forward. So that's why the county is willing to participate. It still has to get approval from the land bank, which I happen to sit on the land bank, but I don't think it'll be an issue. So we need to get a letter out to these guys sooner than later. Kudos to Warren and the city. The reason that they are asking for another approval is because you guys have done a wonderful job of expediting stuff, not, you know, clearing any of the hurdles and obstacles. I've spent time with both of the head site consultants, and they have nothing but good things to say about what the city's been doing for them. So, yeah. Questions?
So this $175,000 will come from their land bank money?
150. You keep trying to work me, and it doesn't. Yes. And then we look at it, it would be, we would end up replacing that money into that. It's had that money in there for quite some time. It's kind of dead money. But then we would replace that money to be able to do some of these other types of things, you know, feature other communities. So.
Any questions for Mr. Bohm?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dan, thank you, Jeff. Council?
Yeah, I got a few questions, Bill. This waiving permit fees, now we've done that before,
We've done that with the current project.
so this should be the second time.
Correct.
You know what the cost of the permits roughly will be, all of them?
I do not have that number today.
Roughly idea?
I would say for a facility such as this proposed one, that 150 would cover some, but not all, of the permit fees.
So how's the city gonna make up the difference?
Well, number 3 says that project STB will be responsible for fees that exceed that amount.
So everything over 150, they're gonna pay it?
That's what I'm reading.
That's correct. That's what I
That's in
understood.
number 3.
That's what I understood.
And how are they paying for the first one? The fees on phase 1?
Those are the fees that were waived.
How are they being paid?
Those aren't.
Somebody's gotta pay them, correct? Somebody's gotta pay the inspectors when they go out?
Yeah, there's those funds, the inspectors will be paid from existing surplus funds in the building department.
All right, so the taxpayers, the city's gonna pay the inspectors to go out and do their job. Basically, do the inspections. I guess my question is, can the city not charge the fees? Can the city legally waive the fees, the building fees, permit fees?
Is that not correct?
Yes. That's something we have the authority for.
They can?
I'd have to ask Mr. Downey that, but it's been done.
Well, I'm just curious. This is the first, this is all new to me, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if the city, can the city waive permit fees?
Your Honor, if you don't mind, I'll take a stab at that. I'm not a lawyer, so please forgive me, but the city has established its fees and its ordinances, and you approve them every year, so you have the ability to waive those fees for projects if you choose to. That would be my answer.
Well, I'd like to hear the answer from the
Well, the other
attorney.
thing we have to keep in mind too is that the long-term commitment that we're making out there will more than pay for tax money that we'll be getting from this development. We'll be recovering our investment
I understand that, Tom.
right away, but I don't think that we would have done this if we wouldn't have had the legal authority to do so.
I'm not saying that it's not, I just ask, is it? That's all.
We'll ask Donnie.
Now, we've waived like water bill fees too, recently.
I understand, but.
I should say penalties.
I'm
Penalty
asking
fees,
about
yeah.
the actual permits.
Right.
I know the city of Marysville's done it, and I know the city of Fort Aaron's done it.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is all new to me. This is basically the first time I've seen any of this. And
Yeah. And Mr. Downey reviewed all of these documents before it went into effect, and I'm like Mr. McCartney, I don't think that he would sign off on something that if he thought, you guys can't do that. Thank you, Dan. Anybody else?
Is this similar light industrial kind of project that we were looking at for the first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So what would be in order is a motion to direct administration to draft this letter and get it into the hands of Mr. Casey, I'm assuming?
I'll make that motion.
I'll support your motion.
All right, the motion is made and supported. Can I have any questions or comments from people?
I got one other one. Is the letter now gonna give them what they want, or we just starting the process?
Well, this is the start of the process, but I would say that this is what they want, basically. I don't know if they're aware of are they aware of that they pay for anything over the 150, Ann?
No.
And so that will be news to them.
This is our proposal to them.
Yeah, basically, I want to get Paul mad at me.
If he's here. Yeah, so basically what we're proposing is the $150,000 that the county would pay to the city would be treated like a credit for the company. So in other words, as their plan comes in, gets reviewed, the cost associated with that would be charged against the $150,000 that you guys would be receiving. If they hit the cap, which they may not, but if they hit the cap, at that point, they are responsible for paying any additional fees, water and sewer tap fees beyond that.
Yep. It's stated in number 3, if anybody's wondering. All right. Anybody else questions? Bill, anything else?
Yeah, so the city's basically investing in another $150,000 into this project.
Theoretically.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, the motion has been made and supported?
Yes.
Mayor Cedar, may I repeat the motion? Is it to direct administration to begin incentive discussions?
To draft the letter to get to Mr. Casey to get to Mr. Colson.
Correct.
Okay, specifically to draft a letter. Okay, thank
All
you.
right. Okay, I guess we'll call the roll then.
Koopa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Volz?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
Thank you, Bohm. Thank you, Mr. Casey, Mr. Bohm. All right, let's go to number 10, claims and accounts for January 7, January 14th, 2021.
Your Honor, I do have a question on 2 checks. Check number 51708 and 51709. I'd just like to know what those payments were for. I don't have to tell me tonight, but if they were tax reimbursements, then that's fine. I just would like to know what those
510, 708, and 709?
To each China school district?
Yeah, 708, 709, yeah.
Those are tax collection payments.
They are? Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah. I have one, check number 51672, C&K Heating and Cooling.
Hang on a
First
second.
one, the $130 check.
51672?
So how much store furniture?
51673, no, hold on, no, 51672.
Yeah, and you said the amount of 130, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is for repairs at the
Library.
old former special police building.
Now, do we do repairs? Obviously, we do the maintenance on that building. We talked about it.
Yeah, the city's responsible for maintenance of that.
What do we collect for rent on that a month, Warren?
I believe it's $210 per month in rent payments.
So we get $200 a month and we spend $130 to fix the furnace?
That's correct.
When the furnace breaks, it breaks.
Pardon me?
Furnace breaks, it breaks.
I'm saying, but if we collect a $200 rent on a building and pay $100, $30 service charge,
Are you suggesting that we rewrite the lease?
pardon me?
Are you suggesting that we propose a new lease?
I'd like to look at the lease if I could.
Okay.
I believe they also pay property taxes, don't they?
They do pay property taxes, yes.
You know those off the top of your head or not?
The property taxes, no. But property taxes are essentially a wash
Sure.
because the city property we don't use for a public purpose, so leasing to a private entity, the city, you know, has a tax bill that, you know, we have to pay, so we pay it, but then, you know, they're responsible for paying it, so it's not like it's building a surplus or anything, but the rental payment of $210 per month, though, that is, you know, above and beyond the tax amount, so that's collected by the city.
Like,
And it's not if we were going in there every month and fixing the furnace.
Has there been any long-term discussions about that property at all?
I've heard several different things. I think if council is interested in doing something with it, whether it's relooking at a lease, sale, or other use of the building, it's well within your right to do so.
Anybody else on claims and counts?
Again, a motion to approve, Your Honor.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to public comment, number 11. Anybody have anything non-agenda, 3 minutes, if you have something to talk about with us? Okay, we'll go to number 12, mayor and council comments. I have a couple of things. First of all, don't forget this weekend, the ice carvings downtown, all around town, actually. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Jeff?
Through
Thursday,
Saturday.
Saturday for sure.
Okay.
Bands Friday night, Saturday
Fireworks.
night, fireworks, Saturday night,
8 o'clock, that sound right?
8 o'clock.
Right. The other thing is I do want to bring attention to our city clerk's department. Got some, I thought, some good news. So here it is. The city of St. Clair Ward 2 was randomly selected by the Bureau of Elections for a post-election procedure audit. All counties have jurisdictions selected. The audit was conducted on Thursday, January 14, 2021. The audit focuses on several key election day and pre- and post-election day processes, with the main objective of this program is to reinforce important election-related legal and procedural requirements and to identify specific topics that may need additional focus and/or clarification. The audit also included a review of voted ballots with a hand tally of one of the races. The review of voted ballots will verify the equipment used to count votes worked properly and yielded the correct result. The city of St. Clair received a perfect score of 100% with no recommendations. Well done. Good job to that whole committee and all your workers. I know some of them are here. Ms. Boda's back there, and I think that's important to know. Is there anything else you want to add to that? Because, I mean, this is your...
No, I think the explanation of the audit was spot on, and it was a great learning opportunity. And, you know, you think you're doing everything correct, but having somebody validate that is just extra incentive to keep doing what you're doing. So I appreciated the audit. I look forward to them because it can only improve your processes. And thank you very much.
Well, now you told me, too, that when the guy called you, you asked him how many of these are 100% or something like that, or...
I did mention that. The auditor told me that in his service of auditing, he has only awarded one other perfect score.
wow.
Yeah, very nice.
That's impressive. Thank you. Keep up the good work, you guys. Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause?
Yeah, the traffic light at 29 and Clinton,
29.
is that gonna get tweaked, or, I mean, that thing's crazy.
You're in charge of that, aren't you?
You got 4 seconds off of Clinton.
I've definitely heard some feedback from several people in our town on that. We're working on getting in contact with MDOT. Obviously, they were just still out there today programming things, taking out the old poles, so work in progress to come. We are aware of it, though.
Other than that, turning the rest of it's pretty good.
It is.
Yes, it's, and we're going to see the biggest improvement come summer when we have the bridge going up and down. Because this is a smart light. And if it takes 3 cycles of the light to clear downtown, that's what it will do.
And I will also add on this light, I'm going to verify it for sure, but I've been told the only time the pedestrian cross signal will appear now is if somebody physically presses the cross button. Haven't verified that, that's what I've been told. So again, if people are used to crossing there.
I used it yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
That was the only way you could get it to work.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So push the button across the street, please.
And all the
No
arrows point
jaywalking.
to the Voyager, so.
Well, that's how you get your drink pass.
All right. Anybody else on council have anything of value?
Well, that being said, no.
Okay.
Mr. LaFleur.
Do your thing.
Your Honor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Or
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have a night, everybody. Be careful, be safe. Thanks for coming.